My intro is super simple. It's just, hey, it's Mr. Jackson here in the state of whatever. I'm a veterans life specialist. How are you doing today? They say good. I'm like, perfect. I can get back to you on the form you just sent in. Your beneficiaries blank. Is really that's my intro every single time. Now, where it gets a little different is like from your intro, everyone does discovery, from what I know. So you start to ask them questions. Hey, why'd you fill the form out? This and that. So I have a four to five roadmap that I stick to, and they're
Mhm.
all logical questions. So question number one is like, hey, when you filled it out, was it more final expenses, leaving money behind? And then they tell me. If they tell me a cremation, let's say, I'm like, perfect. Did you know in Tennessee the average cremation is this amount? Cool. You understand after you have that in place, everything else is going to be left behind to your wife, correct? So now we're on the same page. He understands only if I have 6,000 of coverage, I'm covered. Everything else I leave behind. Just it's simple, but I just want to make sure we're on that page. Question number two. Okay, you had your beneficiary as blank. What was her name? Okay, is there anybody else on this policy? I'm already closing. On the second question, I'm like 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes in, I'm like 45 seconds in. I'm already pre framing that this policy is theirs. Hey, on this policy, any grandkids, kids, what are we looking to do? No, okay, just your wife. Perfect. Question number three. We're moving into okay, and how long you been looking around? Is this something more recent? Is this something you've been looking around for a while now, or are you just realizing it's important to get done now? That is me building time urgency. It's a logical question. A vet is going to back himself into a corner. He's going to be like, oh, I just need to get it done now. So now I know who his beneficiaries on the policy. He needs to get it done now because he's been looking around for a while and he's pushing it off, like most veterans, is what I would say. And we know what he wants to cover. Question number four, this is how we wrap it all up. Okay, do you have anything right now acting as life insurance? He's going to say yes or no. If he says yes, you dive into it, figure it out. If he says no, you're like, oh, okay, I see why this is important to you. Now, the cool part is you don't move on until you're on the same page. So I work backwards. I work backwards up that roadmap. I complete the whole thing. So it's going to sound like, so John, basically what you're telling me is you don't have anything in place. You've been looking around for a while. You're realizing you need to get it done. And you're just worried that your wife, she's going to be coming out of pocket for your cremation. Is that really what makes sense? And they're going to say, yeah.
That's fire. I like how you did
Yeah.
that. Keep going, bro.
And that's my whole discovery. A lot of people like you can break down little mini questions. I do believe like
Yes.
you can dig if they're dry because you get dry people sometimes. You got to be like, okay, now you got to work to get some of these words out. But that right there usually works all the time for me. Once I repeat back everything, I'm through my discovery. I'm into what I call my background. So yeah, everything can make sense for the customer, but if they don't trust you and who and what you do, they don't buy because they got to trust you. You know what I mean? Like it's a relationship.
Right.
So I tell them every single time, hey, John, before we move on, a little background about me. I've been doing this for a few years now. Okay. Now, my job's pretty simple. I'm not trying to confuse them. My job's pretty simple. I work with every top A rated company in the state. I go find you the cheapest price with the best company. I get you approved. Does that make sense? And he's going to say, yeah, that makes sense. I like perfect. So now he knows who I am in my background. He knows what he wants to get done. Now I'm going to tell him why he's special because the riches are in the niches. So I'm going to be exclusive to him. I'm going to say something like, okay, now I do only work with, disabled veterans, or I do only work with veterans here, John. Exclusively work with veterans. I'm just going to verify some service details. What branch did you serve in? What was your MOS? How many years did you serve? Can you verify your date of birth? He goes through those. Okay, perfect, John, great. So now he feels special because it's exclusive. I've learned a little about him. So then we're getting to a close, I promise. Then we
Keep
move.
going, bro. I love it. I too, so just keep going. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you're good, man. So then we get into to health questions, right? And I'm gonna tell. So everyone's like, I have a lot of new agents. They'll say something like, "Man, after I tell them who I am and like their why, how do I even get into health questions? Like, there's like a road bump there." I'm like, you said it's a little life insurance is simple transition. So I hit him with, I'm gonna educate him on life insurance. And I'm gonna go right into health questions. So now you've kind of seen this roadmap. We're on the same page still. I'm gonna say something like, now, John, at the end of the day, man, life insurance is probably the most simple insurance you can find because I don't want them to be confused on a product. The moment they're confused, they don't buy. And he's like, yeah, I know. It's like, okay. So when it comes down to it, it's just based off of age and health. Now, I got you here at 65. I only have four health questions for you, nothing more. Are you a smoker? You ask your four health questions, or I have four. I know other people might have different ones.
What are
Breakdown.
those for the people that don't know, bro? Just real quick.
No, yeah. So my four, are you a smoker? I always start simple because some vets are to the point and they're like, I don't want questions. So I always say four, nothing more, nothing less. Are you a smoker? Now I'm gonna get some sauce. Here you go. So there's a few things that people do psychologically that you'll do that makes people do things. Number one, have something in common. give people compliments, and give people before you ask. Because inherently, people like themselves. They like themselves, so they like to be complimented. And the last thing is when you give somebody something inherently, whether they feel it or not, psychologically, they always want to give you something back. So before I ever ask for personal information from them, I make sure I say the word give like 3, 4 times. I'm saying it. I want to give you this, John, because when you say, I'm so serious, man, it really makes a difference. It's the small things. That's why I think efficiency is high. So
Right.
for me, I'm saying, which I'll get to that point, but right now I'm saying, are you a smoker? No. Okay. Hey, me neither, John. We got that in common. There's my common. Now we're in common right there. He's also learning I'm straight to the point, which he is as well. Number two, any history of heart attack, stroke, cancer? No. Okay. Any diabetes? No. So that's my question too. I just kind of throw it all in there. Number three, how many daily medications do you take prescribed from the doctor? I don't need to know what they're for or what they are, John, just kind of what they're for. Give me a quick breakdown. And he tells me. Number four is going to be your organs. I'm just going to say your important ones, the knockout questions. So you got congestive heart failure, COPD, any kidney or liver disease or failure. A lot, and those are my four right there. If I need to break down something a little extra, you could always say something like, "Are you on a walker on oxygen?" But a lot of times I ask that when I get to the application. But those four alone, I've realized I can almost pinpoint where they're going to get approved pretty quick. Now, once I get through those, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be honest, John. You're making my job easy here, man. I don't see why we couldn't get you one of the cheapest rates in the state. I am required to give you some of my information first, though. Can you grab a pen and a piece of paper? Let me know when you're ready. And then, if they go grab that pen and piece of paper, I don't ask them. You tell people like that. People like to be told what to do at the end of the day. And then they'll bring it back to you. This is where I said you kind of have to get this. This is where we're getting into the options and the close. So I'm going to give them everything. I'm going to give them my first and last name. Write it down. Cole, Cole, last name Jackson. I'm going to give them my government ID. This is how the state of blank. They see me as a life specialist. That's how I take care of people. My number is this. Now I do ask a favor of you, John. This number is directly tied to everybody I've taken care of in the last few years. So you can refer me to friends and family, but outside of that, I need you to keep that number private. You understand? Okay, perfect. And then this last thing I want to give you, John, this is my personal cell phone number. That way, once we get something in place, I would work for you 24/7. So if you ever have questions, concerns, maybe you want to raise the coverage, all you got to do is shoot me a text. I can get it done with you. Okay. So I'm giving them everything. I'm trying to give them everything. Want them to get involved. And then I have them write down options A, B, and C. And this is where we get into the close and the application. This is the end of it all, of my roadmap, I would say. Once I get them on A, B, and C, a lot of people do this wrong. The only leverage that you have on somebody when it comes to being on a sale is the price. Everybody wants to know the price. That's the leverage that I have on them. So when I give them options, I say option A, put down option B, put down option C. I ask for their budget. Usually I'm like, okay, now most veterans, every veteran I take care of has a different budget. They have a different income, different expenses. How much would you want to kind of start with to keep this under on a monthly basis? They might give you some pushback. Okay, would you say under 100, 150, 200, higher, lower? Eventually they'll give you the number. So option A is going to be like 50% of the budget. Option B is like 75. Option C is like 90% of the budget. I kind of just rough estimate it. And to be honest, I just kind of whatever vibes in the moment. But I always stay under that number because I'm trying to write good business. It's all about persistency. And you can always increase. So I'm not worried about that. Then I tell them write down 10,000, write down 15,000, write down 20,000. Now this is where, in my opinion, a lot of new agents mess up. They rush the discovery. And back to my philosophy here, a confused prospect would never buy. And this is an important decision, right? So I'm going to go as slow as I can to allow them to break everything down and analyze everything for themselves because they're older and I don't know what they're thinking about. But some people will be like, hey, option A is $30, option B is this or this. And they're like kind of speedy as a new agent. It's like, no, slow down. Take your time. They're on your time right now, right? So option A here, John. Now, this John, it's just to get your foot in the door. I'd recommend it if you're wanting to get something small in place. You're just not sure how much coverage you want. It's going to take care of everything you need. It's going to leave money behind to your wife, Donna, or whatever. And it's just a really good option. It's the cheapest rate in the state. That A option right there is only going to be $35. I know that's way low, but that's just an example.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take my time. I'm not rushing at all. I'm like taking breaths. I'm like, that's $35. And I'm just going to sit there. You get that down, John? Yeah, I did. Okay. Now moving on. It sounds so like small, but I promise you, it allows them to actually process what they're seeing. Because to a customer, A, B, C, 10,000, 15, 20. That's a lot of numbers at first. Like I see that every day, but from a new angle, they don't. So I want them to actually think about what that number does for them. I do that for every option. Option B is the state recommended amount. I professionally recommend it because it fits in the budget. It's a little more money leaving behind, still takes care of everything you need. Now this option is going to be blank, and then I get to C, finish it up. Here's where the sauce comes in. A lot of people will close right away. Hey John, which option do you want to go with? I think that's cool, and it works. I've closed a lot of people like that. But what I've done now is I'm like, man, I found a really good closing ratio now to where it's like, how do I get them to sell themselves again and bring up value? So I'll take a break and I'll be like, hey, John, you get those three written down? And he's going to tell me, yeah, it's just me giving him more time to kind of look at everything and make sure we're on the same page. I'm like, okay, perfect. So I guess looking at those options there, I mean, do you like the B or C, or do you think the A makes the most sense? And he's going to tell me, and he's going to give me one. Well, I mean, blank. I mean, I kind of like the B, but okay. And now I'm going to make him sell himself because I'm not trying to sell him. He's going to sell himself through his own words. Okay, John. So I guess that B option, now I like it too. I guess just tell me, why does that make sense to you? Why does that one stand out? And there he goes. He's going to start talking, and he sells himself. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm glad we're on the same page. Let's just get that thing, get those paper copies sent out. What's a good address to get them sent to? And then they always shoot their address out, and I get them through an application. So, and then I do my closing
I
remarks.
ain't gonna lie, bro. It's fire, bro. Okay,
Yeah.
there's so many things I gotta break down. All right, so
Yeah.
we're gonna start. We're gonna start from an intro perspective.
Yeah.
For those that did not catch, I'm gonna kind of try to break this down, but I'm gonna ask him to help me out.
No, go
So
ahead.
from the very, very beginning, when he does the intro, there's so much report. And when I say intro, y'all, I don't mean like, hey, my name, like, hey, it's Cole. Like everybody has that part. You can get past that part. That's fine. I'm talking about he's going right into building value while also asking legit power questions. A lot of people ask power questions because it's on a script rather than asking power questions like he's getting the beneficiary, the reason why, essentially, like kind of not necessarily how much coverage, but like the importance of it to him and what it kind of looks like. And then afterwards, he's like regurgitating that back to them. And then he's moving on to the next section. Rather than most people, well, after the intro, go straight into, okay, here's my information. Now, I think that's super important because it really locks them in on like why they're here. And if I'm a betting man, just a betting man, you probably have a lot of thorough conversations because you do get right to the point of why you're calling. I think when people start asking a bunch of like, oh, blah, 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 why'd you fill this out type of thing, and they don't give them close-ended responses. Like, did you fill this more out for like cremation? Or are you just looking at, okay, this is what this looks like? You're
Mhm.
educating them and grabbing the authority frame from the beginning.
Yes.
Uh,
Yep.
I think the thing I love that you did, and I'm sure you get probably none, any sort of like social or banking objections, is when you, and I don't know who caught this, but like if I was selling, this is what I would do. I love it. You give them all your info right before you ask them important info that they would probably be uncomfortable giving away,
Yeah.
which is super interesting because the timing of it is like, oh yeah, I give them this, so they give you that. The philosophy doesn't change, but your timing is perfect. Like, okay, hey, here's Cole, here's my name, here's my information. Don't give this away. This is important. So it's like now they feel like you've exchanged some level of like a
Exactly.
relationship, and it's secretive, even though that's very intentional with your word track. So when you ask them for something that you wouldn't want, they wouldn't want you to give away, you've already done that. So you've already
Exactly.
went out, like you said, and give, give, give. So now by the time you do ask, it's super hands off. Like, hey, look, man, like I already gave you all that. But that probably is never a question because you framed them from the beginning. That was brilliant, bro.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
It's all
Yeah,
about framing. Yes,
dude,
sir.
100%,
Yeah.
bro. So for people that are watching, I'm not even gonna mess this swag up. You can just go back and rewind it, honestly, and just like I would honestly write all that down, y'all.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go over like the banking thing too
No,
much.
yeah.
I want to dive into something else. So when you're pitching those options, one thing I do want to know, how are you determining the price? Are you coming up with the price and like how much coverage based off those values at the beginning? Like, oh, I know, okay, he's got to put like 10,000 here, 15, 20. Are you just throwing numbers out? I think I know the answer, but for the people that are
No, yeah.
listening, how are you determining what to actually quote them when you're going through A, B, and C options?
Yeah. I think it comes with a little bit of failure. Like, like you gotta learn the product and stuff. But for me personally, I'm going to make sure I get their budget. And I always make sure to say something like, hey, now, when you're starting to get something in place, how much do you want to keep this under? Because I don't want to go with somebody who's like right away is like, let me throw $800 a month in place. And then he
Right.
cancels the next month because he's like, oh, I shouldn't have started that high. I have so many veterans call me back. They're like, hey, Cole, can we max out the coverage now? And they've already been my customer for 3, 4 months. And I love that because it means I'm doing something right. So how I go about it is I ask their budget right before I get the options. Okay. And I'm going to find out under their budget, what can these coverage amounts do to their why. So if a guy tells me I'm trying to cover final expenses and leaving some money behind, but then he also tells me his budget's only $120, I'm gonna go find the most efficient options under three or under $120 that can take care of his reasoning. So if I have to give him eight, 10, and $12,000 option, I'm gonna be honest with him. Be like, John, now this A option, the 8,000, it's not gonna cover the full burial unless you're getting buried in the VA cemetery. They'll cover the plot, so it will then. But if you're going to be more local with your wife, the A option is only going to take care of about 8,000 of it. It's going to leave about four behind. That option's only blank. I'm very honest. Like, I'm to the point because I'm telling you, I'm like, at the end of the day, John, if you can't afford the insurance, I'm not going to sell you the insurance because, if you can't afford it, it's not insurance. And
Yeah.
I make that very clear. And a lot of those vets really respect the fact that I'm that straightforward. I'm like, listen, you either have to raise the budget a bit or you got to lower the expectation because I can't go out there and do magic and just find an amazing price. Like, these are the cheapest prices for you. I'm here to put you in the best position. If I can't do that, I'm not going to get you insurance. And then I'm just very honest with like, hey, John, your budget's only $100. You understand we're going to be kind of pushing that with the coverage amounts. You know that? Well, and then we get to the options. I just break it down for them.
Yeah.
But I'm
Uh,
always under the options. I'm always under their budget. I never go over.
100%. I love that. And I think for the listeners, what he did right there was he's willing to walk away. He's willing to be honest and transparent enough to walk away and lose the sale. And I think that's super important. A lot of agents are so hungry for that sale that they're kind of willing to say or do whatever. And I think
Exactly.
that just comes with obviously, your door-to-door experience and understanding that like part of it that does give you a frame. Like people trust you more subconsciously when
Yep.
you give them certain word tracks that make them feel like, oh, he's not actually trying to sell me. Like he's willing to say, well, there's really no point in doing this, John, if we can't do something that actually makes sense and we'll make sure that Mary is protected. Does that, and they're like, ah, okay. And so then you're just very honest with them. Dude, that's brilliant, bro. That's brilliant.